Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry I haven't posted a video in a while. I've been a little busy with schoolwork and the holidays and stuff. And so I'm finally back and I'm gonna be showing you guys how to clean your tack. So I'm gonna make this a multiple part video. So this first part I'm gonna be showing you how to just do the saddle. And then later on I'll teach you the bridle and the saddle pads and other stuff like that. I'm gonna take this rag, this definitely clean rag that isn't covered in hay. And I have a bucket of water here, just a bucket I found here at the barn somewhere. And I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna dip my rag in the water, get it a little wet. So that way I can now just wipe off all the dust off the top layer off the saddle and give it a clean slate to then come in with the cleaner and conditioners and stuff later. So we're just gonna come ahead and do that. Make sure to get really good under your saddle as well, just to get all that dust off. Now you're ready for cleaner. So I use a bunch of different ones. It's more whatever one's easiest to access. So for right now, I'm using Antares's Savion Glycerin. I really like this and it works well and it doesn't get too sooty to where it's hard to then rub it in and clean it well enough and get all the suds off. So I'm just gonna take my giant sponge here. You can get these sponges and tack cleaners from like IFA and Cal Ranch, or Amazon is also great and has all these tack cleaners. If you have a brand of saddle, I would highly recommend getting the one that's the same brand as your saddle. I could not find, my saddle's Voltaire, and I could not find any saddle soap really accessible from Voltaire. So I found what was easiest and is a high quality. Make sure you get something that's not going to ruin your tack. And also you can look up reviews and stuff on the product to see how well it works. Anyway, we're going to take the sponge, dip it in the water, squeeze it up so it gets a lot of that water in it. And squeeze out any excess water. Just take it and just clean it all nice and good. And then as you clean it in circles. And so you're gonna come like this in circles to get all that dirt off. And I have a little bit too much water in my sponge, so I'm just gonna wring some of it out. You don't wanna have a ton of water because just water and a lot of it can ruin your tack and make it crack easier and dry it out, which sounds controversial since it's water, right? It's supposed to hydrate. No, that's why we use saddle soap. And the saddle soap gives it like a layer and stuff that gets deep into the pores but won't ruin or crack your leather. My horse is out in turnout and she's like running around back and forth. If you can see, the soap's leaving like a film, so I have too much soap to water. So then I just got a little water on the sponge and I'm just gonna kind of rub that in a little bit better and use the soap that's left on the saddle instead of getting more soap. Getting those cracks nice and good, those tend to get forgotten and left out when cleaning tack. And that's where the most amount of dirt and buildup happens. Now, so that I can give this a good clean, I'm gonna take the stirrup leathers off. My saddle's easy and they just can slip off right here with a little movement. Some of them, there's a little latch you have to flip, or you can always just unbuckle the leather and slide it out. Is also an easy way to do it. I'll just set those to the side to clean later. Now I can get in there nice and good without their stuff being in the way. Okay, I finished up the saddle, and you can tell now if you go back in the video, you can see how the saddle was kind of shiny. Now that I've washed it, I've taken off that shiny layer. So, to keep it from cracking, because it will dry out right now, because it's like when you wash your hair. The shampoo's there to dry everything out, and then you add conditioner to then hydrate the ends and the parts that you want hydrated. So now, hold up, gotta close the other lid. This is my favorite conditioner. It's just mink oil by Five Bings, I think. I got this at a local tack store. I'm sure you can find it anywhere or Amazon. And then you're just going to take a different sponge. So don't use the same sponge you used from before because that still has conditioner on it. Find a new sponge or just buy a new sponge or whatever. And you're going to take some, and you don't need a ton. So I like to do thin layers at a time, so it's just about that much. And then rub it in circles. Again, you can get out of circles once you get into little cracks and stuff, but rub it in circles and rub it in there nice and good. Almost massage it in with the sponge. If you run out of conditioner while you're doing it and it starts to get a little stuck while you're drawing those circles, you can add a little bit more to the sponge. And then just spread it out. And then you know how we got in the cracks earlier with the soap? That means we also have to get in the cracks with the conditioner. Come to this side and just show you how I'm doing it on the sides. The helpful thing is when you wash it, the shine goes away, right? So as you're putting the conditioner on, you can tell which parts you'll need the conditioner because they'll be shiny or they'll be dull still because you haven't put anything on them. Now on the back side of this leather, you can kind of see how it has like pores almost. You want to make sure you get that conditioner well into the pores to get a good conditioning. Now that I've shown you that side, I'll be right back after I finish the other side. Is to make sure to get the underside. This is the most exposed to the horse's sweat out of all your saddle, and so you want to make sure that you get this part cleaned and conditioned very well, or it can start cracking and hardening, and you don't want that with a very nice saddle. And you don't want that with a saddle. Now that I have this bad boy all cleaned and conditioned, I need it to dry for a minute before I show you guys an extra step I do. Every couple times I clean it. So probably every 3 or 4 times I clean it, or every 3 to 6 months as well. But while I wait for that, I'm going to show you how to clean stirrup leathers. Now it's basically the same thing, but there are a couple techniques I'm going to show you that help it go easier and clean better. So you need your soap again. Make sure you grab the right sponge. I often get confused on which one's which, especially when I use 2 sponges that look the same. So make sure you grab the right sponge. Got the soap again. That's not too much. Now we are gonna just lay this on top of that, okay? And you're gonna take this, you're gonna grab the piece of leather, and you're just gonna fastly go across it and get your elbow grease in it to clean up all that stuff. And as you do this, it gets inside the cracks and cleans inside that as well. So you can always just unclip this, and if you go this way, your stirrup will stop at the end and not fall off. Or you can just take the stirrup completely off and then put it on later. But that's too much work for me, so I just do the easy way. And do the same thing, just pull it along. Make sure it's nice and clean. I also don't do my stirrup leathers every time because this leather can get too soft and then it starts stretching, and then you can end up with too thin, and then these little holes will start ripping and breaking and stuff. So I don't want that, so I just wait. So that one's all clean. The other one really fast. Some reasons why it's important to clean your tack in the first place is dirty tack means cracked tack. So when your tack is dirty, it absorbs all the sweat and gunk and dirt from riding and seeps into the leather, which then can dry out the leather and cause it to crack. And let me tell you, cracking is a pain in the butt with tack. There's not really an easy way to fix it. It'd be cheaper basically to just buy a new one. An English tack is not cheap. I'm pretty sure each of these leather straps are probably like $50. But that's because they're like nice, good leather. but still, if they both end up cracking, then that's $100 down the drain. So I just like to take care of my tack really well. I am going to be honest, I suck at remembering to clean my tack after I ride. It'd be so much easier if I did this after every time I rode, and if I just have to do a quick wipe down and then throw some conditioner on it. But I don't, and so I have to do deep cleans like I'm doing now. But I now just took the conditioner with my new sponge, and we're going to do the same technique going down. And just making sure. This one you don't do circles on because it's kind of difficult to do circles on a flat piece of leather. It's kind of hard to do circles on a thin piece of leather like so that doesn't have like a sturdy basis. I mean, you probably could if you laid it down somewhere, but I don't really have a table to lay it down. But just making sure I'm getting all those leather. And then, yeah, that's how you do strip leathers. And then I'll be right back after a second while I wait for both of these things to dry, and then I'll show you how to do the oil. Rin hack of the day for you. After you do the conditioner, you end up with this really annoying film on your hands, which is very nice for your tack because it adds like a protective water coat, a protective waterproof layer on it, but it's very difficult to get off your hands. So, hack for you. Dip your hands in that water from earlier. Doesn't really matter how gross it is. And then just rub your hands in the soap for a hot second. And then if you rub them together, you can always usually get that grime off pretty easily, which is the purpose of the soap for tack. So, it works just as good on hands. And now I don't have a slimy layer. Got a little chilly, so I threw a jacket on. But my saddle's now all dry, and so I'm going to take a rag. You can either use the same one from earlier, and earlier have just done half of it in it, or you can just find a new rag. I just have a new rag here. And then I have this on terrace Houle de Queue. Don't know what that means. It's some French fancy word. But you just take a little bit of this. You really don't need a whole lot. Find a little corner patch or anything, and just literally, like, that is all you need for part of it. You can always add more later, but it starts with little bits at a time. And then this is just going to give a layer on your saddle to protect it and add intense moisture to it so it doesn't crack. Okay, I gave up on the rag from earlier because it was not applying very well, and I just went back to my sponge from earlier. As you can see, it makes the saddle very oily. So if you're going to do this after you ride and like give it a day to soak in. I usually keep a saddle cover on my saddle, but I won't put one on tonight so that the saddle oil can sink into the saddle instead of the cover. So, hey guys, thanks for joining our video today, and I hope this was helpful in teaching you guys how to clean your tack. I'm going to come out next week with a part 2 of how to clean bridles and martingales. So I hope you guys can join me for that, and I will see you guys